A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, The Defenders, based on a story by Philip Dick.
And now we bring you a special film of the destruction of San Francisco by radioactive pellets, released this week by robots of the Asian Confederation. This bombing was televised by robot cameramen of the Western Confederation as it took place. What you are about to see is a rebroadcast. Here you see the heroic robots, the leadys, who defended San Francisco against the dastardly attack. Of course, since all human life has been under the surface of Earth for 16 years, there was no actual loss of life in the sense we know it. Still, the vicious destruction of Western leadys by this sneak attack by Asian robots.
The surface war. The surface war, that's all we hear. It's all everybody works for. 90 cents out of every dollar goes for the surface war. Every man, woman, and child is either inventing new weapons or manufacturing robots to fight for us or taking care of the people who are doing the inventing or manufacturing.
Mary, take it easy.
I'm sorry, Dad.
Maybe you've been working too hard at the university.
Maybe.
How's the study coming?
All right.
Colonel Moss was asking about it only today over at Supreme Headquarters.
I'm still working.
Mary, you haven't mentioned the enemy much.
Oh, what's there to say?
Well, is he as hateful as ever?
He hasn't been feeling well.
Pity. I hope he doesn't die. After all, he's the only living captive member of the Asian Confederation. How old is he, by the way?
34.
Oh, you're joking, of course.
No.
Mary, Western society only moved under the surface of the Earth some 16 years ago. Now, that would mean that the enemy was captured when he was only a boy.
Yes.
He told you this?
Oh, no, he tells everyone he's 42. I deduced it from inconsistencies in his statements.
Well, that's a little dangerous, isn't it?
Well, you're the only one I've told, Dad.
I wish you wouldn't even tell me these things.
Do you expect your friend Colonel Moss to pop out from under the bed?
Now you're being facetious. It's no laughing matter, Mary. The whole concept of the enemy is so charged emotionally...
And so full of lies.
Mary!
It's true. I've been talking to him for 6 months now. He's just an ordinary young man who happens to have had the bad luck to come to symbolize every hated thing we fight against.
I've heard him speak. He is hateful.
He knows what to say if he wants to keep alive.
Mary, I won't hear any more of this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I suppose it doesn't serve any useful purpose.
It isn't that. I'm thinking of your own safety. If remarks like this were overheard, do you know what they do to traitors?
I've heard they turn them over to the leadys.
They're taken up to the surface. As they approach it, the radioactivity begins to destroy them. And by the time they reach the top...
I'll be careful.
Good. Now then, why don't we stop this morbid talk? How about turning on some music,
All right. Dad,
Yes?
what was it like
What?
on the surface?
Don't you remember?
Mm-mm.
Oh, no, of course not. You were only about 6 at the time. Well, it's best not to talk about it too much.
Tell me, Dad, please.
Well, it was quite different from living underground. We lived in a valley, your mother and you and I. There were pretty farms along the floor of the valley, little white houses and green fields and trees.
Oh, and there were birds.
Yes. I'm afraid the birds are extinct now.
It must have been hard for you those first years underground.
It wasn't pleasant. But I had my work at the War Institute. There was so much to be done then, building the leadys to take over the surface war, designing the pneumatic tubes to get supplies and weapons up to the robots, organizing the robot councils on the surface, and, of course, the constant fight against radiation leakage. We're still working on that one.
I wonder what my life would have been like if it hadn't happened. About all I know is metal walls and great roaring factories and barracks.
Nobody wants to live this way, my dear. We have to. Someday, when the enemy is defeated...
What makes you think he'll be defeated? The Asians are just as secure underground as we are.
When our leadys conquer theirs...
Dad.
What is it?
Dad, the enemy, the one I've been interviewing.
I thought we weren't discussing him.
He mentioned a word to me.
A word?
Yes. It seems to me that I heard it before when I was a little girl.
It's best to forget these things.
No, I don't know what it means. It might even be a bad word, but I have to ask you.
I'd rather not.
Please?
Well?
The word was peace. Oh, Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. I think I'll go up to my room. I have to get up early. I'm taping an interview with the enemy. Excuse me.
Get me the Director of Internal Security.
Yes?
Moss, this is Donald Taylor.
Yes, Donald.
It's about my daughter.
Mary?
Yes. She's been working with the enemy, as you know, compiling a new study.
Yes?
I'm afraid from some of the things he's told her that he may not be completely sane.
Oh?
I thought perhaps you might, supervise their relationship a little more. After all, she's been spending almost 6 months in his company, several hours a day.
I see what you mean.
Now, I don't mean to suggest that anything has happened already. Her attitude's...
Don't concern yourself about it. Everything will be handled discreetly.
The enemy is waiting inside, Miss Taylor.
Good. Is the recording and filming equipment ready to go?
All checked and ready.
You've checked the restraint suit on the prisoner?
Yes, miss.
You may leave us alone.
Just buzz when you want me, Miss Taylor.
I will. Thank you, guard. Hello, hateful one.
Hello, beloved.
How are you?
Feeling no pain?
I thought about you last night. I talked to Father.
Be careful.
Oh, it's all right.
Oh, this can't go on, Mary. Sooner or later, someone will suspect.
I don't care. I love you.
Mary. Well, you'd better get something on tape. If anyone comes in.
All right. Tape number 425X. Subject, recorded interview with captive ZN2, former soldier of the Asian Confederation and enemy of the Western Confederation.
I'm Joseph Kali, serial number ZN2, former soldier of the Asian Confederation.
What were you taught to believe concerning the people of the Western Confederation?
I hate them with all my heart. They are inhuman and to be destroyed.
What is your objective?
It is the objective of my people to enslave all members of the Western Confederation and to utilize them for the benefit of the masters of the Asian Confederation.
Did you ever witness any murder of members of the Western Confederation?
I was a pilot in a group which dropped radioactive dust on women and children who were preparing to be evacuated underground. I myself killed some 15,000.
We will discontinue the interview to check the quality of the recordings. And to kiss the lips of the captive from the Asian Confederation. Oh, Joseph. I can't tell you how it pains me to hear you mouthing this stuff.
It keeps me alive.
If there were only some way to escape, some place to go.
The surface is the only place to go. And the radioactivity kills you in 40 minutes with the thickest lead suit.
Sometimes I think even 40 minutes of freedom would be worth it.
40 minutes of pain?
If that's the price, then
For myself, I wouldn't care. But for you, Mary.
If there were a way to reach the surface...
There is.
Colonel Moss.
This has been, I must say, a most interesting interview to hear.
You heard it.
From the beginning. We had the room wired this morning.
Then you know.
Yes.
What's going to happen to us?
To you, nothing. Because of my friendship for your father and your own youth. We will simply require that you remain silent about anything that has happened.
And Joseph?
The enemy will be handed over to a D-class leady at the mouth of the tube and taken to the surface. We will perform the entire operation with a ceremony and a public announcement.
He'll die.
Precisely.
No. Please.
Now, you'd better go. Your father is waiting outside.
Joseph.
Mary, do as he says.
Joseph, I love you.
Take her out.
Please let me say goodbye to him.
Remove her.
Joseph, please. Please let me stay, please. Father?
Yes?
Did you talk to Colonel Moss?
Yes.
And?
He'll permit you to come along and watch the ceremony, provided...
Provided?
There's no display of any sort. And, of course, a public denouncement of the whole matter. He's prepared a statement to the effect that the enemy tried to dupe you, that he used hypnosis, etc., etc. Well?
I'll sign it.
The ceremony is at the foot of the tube tomorrow morning at 6. At that hour, the enemy will be handed over to a D-class leady, which is being brought down from the surface. Remember your promise.
Details! Halt! The prisoner is ready to be turned over, sir.
Is the robot here?
The robot is arriving now.
I'll give the orders. I wish to converse with it.
Yes, sir. The robot has landed at the foot of the tube, sir.
Switch on the intercom. Robot.
Robot N71.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We have a prisoner to turn over. He is to be taken to the surface and destroyed.
Yes, sir.
Before we send him into the radiation lock, there are a few questions the military would like to have answered.
Yes, sir.
How is the war going on the surface?
The war continues. We are a little short of fast pursuit craft, the single-seat type.
It will be noted.
Our missiles pounded the Euro munitions plant of the Asian robot team last night with good results.
Excellent. Are you ready to receive the prisoner?
I am ready.
I must warn all observers to remain behind the lead wall when the radiation lock opens. A few seconds' exposure to a hot leady is enough to cause serious damage. Prisoner, step forward.
Father.
Steady, Mary. Remember your promise?
Yes. Is he?
He's there.
Oh, if I could only see him alone a minute.
It's out of the question. Keep well behind the lead wall.
Ready?
Ready, Colonel.
Open the lock. Step into the lock, prisoner.
He's in with the leady. You can almost feel the radiation. By now, he's as good as dead.
Lower the door.
No! Wait! Joseph! Joseph!
Mary, come back!
Hold the door!
Mary!
Robert! Remove the woman and take the prisoner to the surface. Hurry!
She'll be burned to death.
Don't go out there. The lady is pushing around. Close the lock!
Mary!
Sergeant! Get a technician in a radiation suit to pick her up. Have her shielded and brought to the decontaminating chamber.
Yes, sir.
My daughter.
You'd better get into a lead suit, Donald. We'll see what we can do to save her.
is she? Bad?
I don't understand it.
What's wrong?
She's cold, not a trace of radiation.
You mean the leady wasn't radioactive?
It's impossible. Those robots are exposed to enough radiation in an hour to kill a regiment.
Well, could the counter be defective?
I checked it. No, it must be some freak. Somehow she avoided exposure to the rays. Yeah, you're a very lucky man, Professor.
Can I see her?
Yes. Go in.
Thank you. Mary.
Hello, Dad.
Did they tell you you're going to be all right?
Yes.
Well, you don't seem overjoyed.
Should I be?
You really care for this murder of women and children?
Dad, for the last time, Joseph never murdered any women and children. He confessed to those crimes to keep alive.
Well, we won't discuss it. You're safe. That's all that matters.
Was he taken up?
Yes. By now, he's gone.
I don't believe it.
Mary.
I don't believe it. Somehow, deep inside me, I know he's alive. Somehow, I knew that leady wasn't radioactive.
That leady. Yes, that's puzzling. We'll have to investigate that. I'm going to send an order to the surface asking that the same leady be sent down again. There's something very strange about the whole business.
The tube is arriving with the leady as you requested, Professor.
Good. I'm going in to examine
it. Isn't that dangerous, even with the suit on, sir?
It won't take me long.
Very well. He's reached bottom.
Open the lock.
Father.
Hold it. Mary, what are you doing here in a radiation suit?
This is the same leady, isn't it?
Yes. I was just going in to examine it.
I want to go with you.
Why?
This is the leady that took Joseph up. I want to speak to it and find out.
Now, Mary, why torture yourself?
It's more torture this way. I have to know. If he's alive or dead, I have to know.
He's dead.
The leady will know. Please, Father, please.
Very well. Close your helmet. Open the lock, guard.
Ready, Mary?
Ready.
Let's go in. You're Robert N71?
I am.
The same who escorted the prisoner to the surface this morning?
Yes.
Is he?
He is dead. The radiation killed him before he reached the surface.
Oh, no.
Steady, Mary. Robert.
Sir?
You accompanied him to the surface?
Yes.
You've been exposed?
I fought in 3 battles.
Then explain something.
Sir?
According to a counter I have concealed in my suit, you're cold. Not a trace of radioactivation. How do you explain this? Well? Answer me. That's an order.
I must return to the surface.
Not till you answer me.
I must return to continue fighting the war. Do not attempt to stop me.
Daddy has a ray gun.
Look out! Keep back. I've shorted him with the metal counter. He'll be burned out in a second. That was close.
I thought these robots were unable to harm their masters.
He might have been bluffing, but I couldn't take a chance.
Why do you suppose he did it?
I don't know. But I'm beginning to suspect something so fantastic that I've got to find out about it.
Find out?
Leave the tube, Mary.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to the surface.
What?
My suit will protect me for about 5 minutes up there.
No humans have been up to the surface for years. It's illegal.
I know all about that. Now, will you leave the tube?
No. I'm going with you.
Mary, please.
If you go, I go with you.
All right. Hang on. I'm going to start the elevator. Here we go. Stop. sounds like a rooster.
It's impossible. There's no living thing on Earth.
Open the car door.
Father.
Mary, do you see what I see? Trees, forests, a windmill, and farmhouses. Look, we must be dreaming.
Father. Birds, look.
It's unbelievable. Oh, no, I can't believe it. I can't.
Raise your hands, both of you.
It's a leady.
Do as he says. He's armed.
Good. I am Alpha 5, chairman of the Surface Council.
What's this all about? Where's the war? The ruins? What's happened here?
Can't you guess?
The war.
There is no war. There hasn't been any war for 15 years.
No war? But the guns, the munitions...
We've been destroying them as fast as you sent them to the surface.
And the Asians?
Their robots have been destroying their arms also.
Why? How did this happen? What about those films of the destruction of San Francisco? What about those televised reports, the bombings, the slaughter?
Models.
Models?
We have a full-time division of A-class robots who do nothing but photograph the progress of the fictitious war using scale models. The entire destruction of San Francisco, which you witnessed on your televisors, took place on a tabletop.
How did this come about?
Quite logically. You created us to pursue the war for you, while you, human beings, went below ground to survive. But before we could continue the war, it was necessary to analyze it, to determine its purpose. We did this.
And?
We found it had no purpose. War, to the logical mind, is absurd, but it fulfills a need in human terms. The need to direct your hatred of yourselves away from you and on to others. Eventually, man will grow up enough so that he can face his own dislike of himself with humility. The time has almost come, as a matter of fact. Until it does come, we decided to preserve the illusion of war. Meanwhile, we rebuilt the cities, replanted the farms, and kept everything in readiness. We are the caretakers.
And what will happen to my daughter and myself?
You will remain on the surface with the others.
Others?
There is a small group of members of the Asian Confederation which came to the surface only a few months ago. They are farming a valley not far from here. By the way, you may remove your radiation suits. There is no radiation.
You said the others. Does that mean that the prisoner, the one who...
He is alive and well.
Father, he's alive. Where is he?
In a farmhouse not far from here. He has rejoined some of his people.
Would you take me to him? Can I see him?
Of course, if you will just follow me.
Wait. There's another car rising in the tube.
Stand aside.
Just remain where you are. Sergeant, take this leady into custody.
Yes, sir.
Well, Professor, this is quite a sight.
How did you happen to come here?
The guard told us you had surfaced. We found the shorted robot where you left it and discovered it was cold. So we decided we'd better investigate. Good Lord, what a shock this is.
A blessing, Colonel, not a shock.
Do the Asians know about this?
A few of them have surfaced, but the underground civilization is still ignorant of it. They think the war is going on just as our people do.
Don't say. You know what this means, don't you?
It means the end of the war. It means peace.
It means victory, Professor. It means we can mount a full-scale attack. We can drop hydrogen fission bombs right down their tubes. We can wipe out the whole race.
But there's no need. There's no war.
There will be. I'm returning underground to report this to Supreme Headquarters. You'll have to accompany me for security purposes.
You cannot do that, Colonel.
Since when does a robot give orders to a human?
We were constructed to protect you. In this case, we will protect you from yourselves.
Stand aside. We're going to the tube.
I will be happy to stand aside, but you will not be able to descend.
No? Well, we'll just see. Look out!
Father, what is it? What happened?
Look. Good Lord. They've destroyed the tube. We're sealed off.
Exactly. We have always had heat bombs in readiness for just such an emergency. Lead and rock are fused for a depth of some 10 miles. It will be years before your people can reconstruct the tube.
I don't believe it.
It makes no difference to us whether you believe it or not.
Men, destroy this robot.
There are many more.
Destroy him. Now.
Look, down the road. Humans. A bunch of humans coming toward us.
Why, they're waving.
Those are rations.
Joseph! Joseph! Father Joseph's with them.
Ready, arms, men. As soon as they're close enough, I'll give the signal to fire.
Colonel, in heaven's name, they aren't even armed.
They're the enemy.
Our only hope for survival is to join with them. We'll need food and shelter. If we destroy them...
The professor is right, Colonel. We're cut off from our own people.
Sergeant, another word, and I'll have you court-martialed. Now, ready your weapons.
Men, don't do it. Our only hope now is peace.
Silence!
I've got to warn them. Go back! Go back!
All right, Professor, you asked for it. Now!
Father! Father, is he...
Colonel Moss is dead. Thank you, Sergeant. You've saved not only my life, but many others.
I couldn't see any other way, Professor. We gotta live, too.
Father?
Yes, Mary?
Does this mean that we can have peace?
If we want it, Mary. If we really want it, we can have it.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the Clifford D. Simak novelette titled Drop Dead. The story of a perfect world, accommodating and peaceful. But how it got that way was less ghastly than how it stayed that way. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you the George Lefferts adaptation of The Defenders, based on a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Philip Dick. Featured in the cast were Lydia Bruce, Warren Parker, Grant Richards, Robert Dryden, Michael Ingram, Stan Early, and Ivor Francis. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
When the powerful diesel-motored cruiser bearing the Gregory party swept away from the Magic Island, their escape seemed perfect. With only enough oil on board to run the motors a short time, a radio message from Johnson saying he was dropping drums of oil with lighted buoys along their course cheered them on. Then, just 50 miles from Guildea, the motors sputtered and went dead. And barely in time, the first oil drum was sighted and picked up. But it's now 3 hours later, nearly midnight, and the motors of the Gregory boat have not turned over since the oil drum was taken aboard. They will never run on the oil from that drum, because the drum contained not oil, but turpentine. In the inky blackness of the subtropic night, Captain Bradford and Jerry stand at the rail, near the stern of the helpless boat.
Gee, Tex, we've only made about 2 miles in the last 3 hours. That won't do us any good.
I know it, Jerry, but there isn't a thing we can do about it. That little scrap of sail is all we can hang on to. And even in a stiff breeze, we couldn't make over 4 or 5 knots. With this deadly calm that's all around us, we're lucky to hold her steady.
Why can't we add more sail, Tex? Oh, we've got plenty of canvas, and we could lash a long spar to the mast and hang it on there. It might not look so good, but it'd catch a lot more wind than that dinky little thing.
I don't think I haven't thought of all those things, Jerry. That would only make matters worse if we got a real breeze.
How come? I thought the more sail, the more speed.
Well, that's okay up to a certain point. And on a vessel, it was intended for sail. But the mast on this boat was only an afterthought, to use as a radio aerial, and for a little auxiliary sail at times. If you really hung enough canvas on that mast to kick this boat along at good speed, she'd bury her nose so deep we'd never come up. The mast is too far forward. We haven't got keel enough for a canoe. Just won't handle as a sailboat.
Gee, Captain Bradford, It doesn't look so hot for us.
No, kid. We could be a lot better off than we are now.
8 bells. Midnight. And we're just about as close to that island as we were when we picked up that oil drum 3 hours ago.
Afraid so, Jerry. We haven't made more than a couple of miles. 3 at the most.
And those Euclidean guys have had 3 hours to wake up and start doing things about catching us.
Yes, and I think that formula of mine, which put them to sleep, might be wearing off any time now, too.
Don't you think we ought to call Johnson, Tex?
I hate to do it. Means that steamer will have to turn around, bring him back here to us, and then probably be captured along with Johnson and all the rest of them.
I'm sorry for Mrs. Gregory.
Yeah, it's been mighty hard on her, all right.
Well, it doesn't matter so much about you and me. After all, we're men, and we can stand a lot more than women can. But poor Mrs. Gregory's been hunting for Joan all over the world for 14 years. And now she's found her. Well, it looks like maybe she'll never get back home.
Well, we mustn't give up, kid. We found that crazy island, which the rest of the world didn't know existed. We spent a lot of days there, and we got away. That's more than anybody else ever did.
Yeah, but don't forget about the old sailor they turned loose just long enough for him to broadcast the radio message that brought us here. They took him back to the island, and, well, that was the end of him.
Yes, I know, but nothing like that's going to happen to us.
And say, we never did find the old sailor's diary. I wish Joan and I could have had time to look for it when we went down inside the island.
Oh, it's no use. Anyway, I think Joan knows as much or more about that place as that poor old man ever did.
Oh, gee, I just can't stand here and look at the dark any longer.
Well, what else can we do?
Well, we can walk around the deck. That's better than standing still.
Well, all right, here we go, son. May not do any good, but it certainly can't hurt anything. I'm getting like you. I've got to do something to keep from thinking what a jam we're in.
Well, I guess we might just as well stand at the rail and watch the stars again for a while. Well, I thought I couldn't stand still, and now I'm getting tired of this walking. Well, we must have gone around the deck hundreds of times, Tex.
Yes, we've been on it for hours, son. I only hope Joan and her mother are getting some sleep. They put out the light in their cabin a couple of hours ago. Good thing we had those oil lights on board. Otherwise, we'd have to stay in the dark all the time to save the juice for the radio.
Gee, 8 bells again. 4 o'clock in the morning. We've walked around that deck for 4 hours.
Yes, but our walking was like our thinking. We didn't get anywhere.
Hey, look. The light in Mrs. Gregory's cabin.
Oh, we must have kept them awake walking around this deck.
I'll bet they weren't any more asleep than we were.
No, I expect not. It hasn't been a very restful night for anyone.
Oh, Tex. Jerry.
Hello?
Yes, Pat?
Come here, you two. Will you please?
Sure. Coming right up.
What's the matter, Pat? Something bothering you and Joan?
Nothing more than usual, Tex. It's just this waiting. Waiting. Waiting for what?
Haven't you and Joan been able to sleep at all?
Why, oh, you're all dressed, Mrs. Gregory. I'll bet you didn't even try to sleep.
Yes, I did, Jerry. But it wasn't any good.
Is Joan dressed, too?
Yes. Joan, dear.
Yes, Mother?
Come out on deck, dear. We may just as well talk to Tex and Jerry as to stay in there alone and worry.
I think there is no value in worrying. We can do nothing but wait.
Oh, golly whiskers. What can we do but worry while we're waiting?
I haven't been able to think of anything sensible to do.
I guess none of us have been any too bright about that. It'll soon be daylight. We may be able to hail a passing ship then.
And the Euclideans will surely be fully recovered from the effects of your gas, Captain, and they will be out here after us.
Well, we'd be just as well off on that crazy island as we are out here drifting around in the Pacific Ocean.
But the Euclideans will not be inclined to treat us kindly if they take us back there now.
I've been wondering just what their attitude will be.
You don't think they'd do anything terrible to us, do you?
I think our lives will be safe until G47 gets the captain's formula. But they have many ways of making life very unpleasant.
Yeah, and I'll bet old G47 remembers them all for us.
Well, let's walk around the deck. Jerry and I put in 4 hours at it, and it does help to pass the time away.
I'll say we walked around the deck. I was going to count how many times we did, but I lost track somehow.
I will count the revolutions we complete, Jerry, and you figure how far we travel. That will give us something to do at least.
Gee, I'm all in.
I, too, am very tired.
How about you, Pat?
I think this is as far as I care to go. It's broad daylight now, and we've seen nothing but water. And then more water.
Oh, let's go in the cabin and sit down a while.
Might as well, I guess.
8 bells. 8 o'clock in the morning. And we are very little farther from the island than we were at 9 o'clock last night.
How far has that sail actually carried us, Tex?
Oh, maybe 20, 25 miles in the 11 hours.
Oh, golly. We might as well be standing still.
Well, let's go in the cabin. Ought to be a little juice left in the batteries. I'm afraid the time has come for that last message to Johnson. Go on in, everybody.
Well, I'll find the oil lamp and light it.
I'll lie down and let you do the work, Tex.
Go ahead, Pat. Never mind the light, Jerry. We'll leave this door open. The daylight is good enough. We may even need the little bit of oil in the lamps pretty badly before we get out of this.
Okay, Tex.
I will just sit here on the couch with Mother. My feet do not feel very comfortable.
I wouldn't think so. Now, you three keep quiet, because I'll likely get a mighty weak signal out of this thing if I get any at all.
Gee, there's not much juice there. The tubes aren't even getting hot.
Going to be awful slow work if we ever get them hot.
You're going to tell Johnson our position is hopeless, aren't you, Tex? And see if he can't turn that boat around and come after us.
Well, I hate to do it, Pat, but we don't seem to have any choice. Quiet now, I'm going to try it. J24 wide or J12C? Hello, J12C? Bradford to Johnson. Hello? Hello, Johnson? QSN? Johnson. QSN, Bradford.
I don't think you're getting out far enough, Tex.
Fred, you're right, kid. We'll just leave it open a minute and see if we can pick up anything before the batteries die entirely out.
I am very much afraid, Captain Bradford, that the Euclideans will have their radios operating by this time, and your message will be picked up.
Tex knows that, dear. But it doesn't matter now. We're almost sure to get caught after all these hours. And if we can get one last message to Johnson, it will give us a thread of hope at least.
Hey, listen, everybody.
What is it, kid?
I mean, quiet. Listen for something.
Yes, I hear it.
It sounds like an airplane.
But where would an airplane come from?
From Euclidia, Jerry.
Quiet, everybody. Yep, that's it, all right. Well, we did our best.
But, Tex, there may be some hope. That plane doesn't have to be from Euclidia.
Oh, I guess there isn't any other place it could be from.
Euclidean state plane to Gregory Boat.
Oh, it is a Euclidean plane.
Euclidean plane to Captain Bradford. Hello, Bradford. Waiting.
Will you answer him, Tex?
Yes, I'd better.
Yeah, he might drop a bomb on us if you don't.
Bradford to plane. Go ahead.
You will drop your sail. Stand by. Lay to for submarine. Drop your bow anchor. You will be towed to Euclidia.
Lay to and stand by for boarding. We'll drop sail.
It is well. That is all. Remember that resistance on your part can mean but one thing. That is all.
Hey, I'm going out and get a look at that plane.
No, kid, you stay here. Pat, you and Joan run and tell the skipper and McLeod to take off the canvas and drop the bow anchor.
We will do it at once, Captain.
What are you and Jerry going to do, Tex?
I've just got an idea. Now, don't worry. We won't do anything foolish. Now, run along and tell the skipper.
We'll hurry, Tex.
Now, what do you want me to do?
Nothing, kid. I just wanted to get Pat and Joan out of here a minute while I tell you something that may prove mighty dangerous to you. But I've got an idea that when we land on the Magic Island this time, we're really going to be prisoners. We may be separated. So there's a few things you'll have to know.
Okay, I'm ready. What are they?
There goes the anchor. I wonder how long it'll be before that sub picks us up.
Commander S1 to Captain Bradford. S1 to the Gregory boat.
Gee, Tex, it's the same girl commander who helped us escape.
Yeah, but she can't do us any good now.
Captain Bradford, you will answer at once. I can hear your open beam.
Bradford to Commander S1. So we meet again. The bow anchor is out for you. Sail being taken down. That all?
That is all. You were wise to follow instructions. Captain, have you a landing stage aboard?
I have. On the port side.
You will make it ready at once. I will personally board you. That is all.
Gee, Tex, the commander's coming aboard herself.
Yeah, she's going to make sure we don't try any tricks.
No, Tex, she's coming aboard so she can get a chance to talk to us before we get back to the island. She's going to help us out.
I'm afraid not, Jerry. When we get back to Euclidia this time, we're done for.
Don't you believe it. That girl's on our side. You'll see when she gets here.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, while Superman rushes to the Metropolis Harbor, Candy Myers, vowing vengeance, sets out alone for a showdown with the racketeers.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, there's no point in letting somebody else in the gang get the jump on you, is there? Especially when it comes to collecting those swell prizes in packages of Kellogg's Pep. You can collect all 3 kinds of Pep prizes easy as anything. 49 different prizes in all. For instance, maybe the prize in your next package of Pep will be one of those keen, full-color pictures of birds. There are 24 to collect, each with a full description on the reverse side so that you'll be hap on those birds. Or, if your next Pep prize happens to be a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, remember, you can collect 7 of those planes in Pep's great air fleet. And the same goes for those 18 bright-colored comic buttons, each picturing a famous comic strip character. Why, all 3 kinds of Pep prizes are super to go with the super terrific flavor of Kellogg's Pep. And that's saying a lot because the catchy taste of Pep is really out of this world. Every spoonful of those cool, crisp flakes of whole wheat tastes downright wonderful. Yes, sir, a bowl of Pep is a smooth treat and then some. So for a prize dish from a prize package, ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal.
Now, the adventures of Superman. Clark Kent is convinced that Mike Rickey, a contractor, practiced fraud in building a subway which caved in, causing great loss of life, and that he was responsible for the near-fatal attacks on Jimmy Olsen and Private Detective Candy Myers, who were investigating the disaster. Learning that Rickey had ordered all the wreckage of the subway tube to be dumped into Metropolis Harbor, Kent, as Superman, streaks to the waterfront in time to salvage some of the rubble. Meanwhile, Candy Myers, vowing vengeance, set out to have a showdown with Rickey, just as the fraudulent contractor had decided that Kent and Candy must be done away with. As we continue now in Mike Rickey's ornate penthouse apartment, Shortcake, the contractor's undersized henchman, has just answered the house telephone. His watery eyes popping, the little thug spins about to face Rickey and Clint Morgan, the dishonest Metropolis building commissioner. Listen.
You're standing there with your mouth open for Shortcake. What gives?
Candy Myers downstairs, boss.
What? Candy Myers?
Yeah, the private eye. He's in the lobby. He wants to see you.
Oh, is he alone?
Wait till I find out. Hey, Jughead, is this Myers' character alone? Yeah, he's all by his lonesome, boss.
Well, now, ain't that just dandy? This makes it nice and easy. All right, have him come up, Shortcake. Have him come right up.
Okay, boss. Send him up, Jughead.
What are you going to do, Mike? Do? Well, I'm going to get this Myers jerk out of our hair for good.
But that would be murder.
Would you rather go to jail?
No, of course not, but
nothing. Clark Kent and Myers are working together. They got some of that busted concrete from the subway cave-in.
No, but...
All right, if they have it analyzed, it'll show how I, with your okay, chipped the building specifications. That means we go to the pen, but quick.
You're right, boss. And me, I don't like no pen.
But there must be some other way.
Now, just stop worrying, Clint, and leave this to me and Shortcake. We'll get rid of this Myers Weisenheimer and then Kent. And then we won't have nothing to worry about except spending our dough.
Yeah, man. Right again, boys.
Well, I don't want to be here, though.
Yeah, look, boys.
Now, look here, Shortcake. What's that?
Must be Candy Myers. All right, you go in the bedroom, Clint.
Yes, sir. I think I'd better.
Let Myers in, Shortcake.
Okay. Step right in, Mr. Myers.
Put that gun away, Squirt. Might go off and scare you.
Oh, yeah, listen, wise guy.
All right, close the door, Shortcake.
Okay.
Oh, fat stuff.
Now, don't be a wise guy, Myers. I'm in no mood for kidding.
Okay. Neither am I. And you can check the artillery. I didn't come here to do that kind of a job. I'm leaving that for the judge and jury.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm here to tell you what a dirty rat you are and to pin your ears back for the job you did on me the other night. And on Jim Olsen.
How's that so? Frisk him, Shortcake.
Okay, boys.
Keep away from me.
Your hands down, Myers, or you get it.
Who are you kidding,
I'm warning you, Myers. I'm just warning you. Try moving your hands and you'll find out.
Now, look, Ricky. You can't bluff me. You wouldn't try bumping me off. Not here. Because you know I wouldn't be so dumb as to walk into this rat nest without first telling my friends.
So what? The doorman and the elevator man will both swear that you asked for me, but I wasn't home, so you went away. They worked for me, you see. I happen to own this building.
Now, wait a minute.
You'd be found someplace, if you ever were found, a long way from here.
Yeah, a long way from here.
Yeah. Now, be smart, Flatfoot, and do like I say. Why don't you pick up that phone and call Clark Kent?
Call Clark Kent? What for?
I want you to tell him that you got to see him right away, and for him to come to the warehouse at 442 West Street. And what's more, tell him to come alone.
442 West Street.
That's right. Now, do you make that phone call, Myers, or do I let you have it right here and now? Well?
Okay, take it easy. I got to make up my mind. Give me a minute to think it over.
Sure, I'll give you a minute. But just a minute. Then you either make the call or you get it. Look at your watch, Shortcake.
Okay. It's exactly...
Try this on your bazooka.
Ricky!
Right, you.
Okay, yeah, I'll get it, boy.
Oh, yeah, but it's for you. Let it go.
Shoot, boy.
Fighting for his life, Candy Myers succeeds in seizing the gun hands of both Mike Ricky and Shortcake, clinging to them as all three men crash to the floor, where they roll and thresh wildly, overturning tables and chairs. But back Mike Ricky, despite his girth as strong as a bear, little Shortcake is wiry and fierce. Each of them slug Candy with their free hands, seeking to make him loose their grip on their guns. Though he hangs on grimly, Candy knows the end is almost at hand. Meanwhile, Clark Kent has returned to the Daily Planet from the famous Dr. Millicent's laboratory. We find him now in Editor Perry White's office, where he is making a report of the chemist's analysis.
Dr. Millicent and his staff analyzed those pieces of concrete that came out of the subway cave-in, Chief, and it's just as I thought. The concrete doesn't nearly measure up to city specifications. Mike Ricky gypped on the quantity and quality of the cement. That's why that tube caved in.
Now listen,
I just stopped by to pick up you and Candy Myers. He started this investigation, and he deserves to be in on the finish.
But look, Kent,
we're going to
Candy
meet the mayor at police headquarters and swear out warrants for the arrest of Mike Ricky and Building Commissioner Morgan on charges of fraud and homicide. Get your hat, Chief.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. Wait a minute. I'm afraid Candy may be in trouble.
Trouble? What do you mean?
Well, he went charging out of here about an hour ago, saying he was going to find Ricky and slap his ears down.
What?
Yes. Said nobody could beat him up and almost killed Jim Molson and get away with it.
Oh.
I tried to stop him, but I know how he is when he gets sore.
Yes, I do, too, and I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Did he tell you where he was going to look for Ricky?
He said something about going to his house.
Where's that, do you know?
Well, I looked it up. It's 1263 Park Place.
1263 Park?
Yes. I called the police, but they said they couldn't go looking for Candy unless I preferred some kind of charging.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. Where are you going? To find Candy, of course, and I hope I'm not too late.
Running across the city room into the deserted storeroom, Clark Kent swiftly strips to the blue costume and red cape of Superman. Then, throwing open the window, the Man of Steel rockets away to search for his friend, Candy Myers.
Out, and away!
Will he find him in time? We'll know more in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, right off when you wake up in the morning, don't you think of all the fun you're going to have during the day? Sure. And, of course, that fun starts right off at breakfast, when you can dig into a bowl of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir, a dish of Pep makes breakfast a regular fun feast. Those golden flakes of Pep are so light, so fresh and crisp, why, they practically say, "Hi there, eat me up." And so you spoon up that cool, catchy flavor. That's strictly Pep flavor, meaning strictly super. And say, super is also the word for the prize you find in every Pep package. 3 different kinds of prizes, one or the other in every package you open. For instance, it might be a model fighting plane in colored cardboard, one of 7 great Pep model planes you can collect. Or maybe it'll be one of 24 new full-color bird pictures with a description on the reverse side so that you'll know these birds in the air. Or it could be one of 18 bright-colored comic buttons picturing a famous comic strip character to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. So start collecting all 3 kinds of these slick Pep prizes. Today, ask Mom for a supply of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal.
once ornate but now wrecked penthouse apartment of Fat Mike Rickey, a mighty battle has come to an end. Defeated at last, a dazed Candy Myers rests on hands and knees on the heaped-up carpet. Above him, his clothes torn, his face cut and bruised, stands Mike Rickey, holding a gun pointed at the fallen detective. Shortcake, his puffed lips contorted in a snarl, stands nearby. In the bedroom doorway, his face pale, stands the graying, paunchy Clint Morgan, building commissioner of Metropolis. Rickey is speaking.
Okay, Myers. This is it.
You're a dirty swine, Rickey. Put down that gun and I'll still take you apart.
You hear the big mouth, Shortcake?
Yeah, I hear him, boss. Go on, let him have it.
You bet I will, right? No, you don't, Rickey. I'll take that gun.
Who's that? Superman. Pull up here, you monkey.
Superman.
I'll fix him, boss. Creepers, the bullet bounced right off him.
Of course.
Here's something that won't bounce off you.
Oh.
Well, nice work, Candy. I gather you're okay.
Yeah. But you got here just 1 second later.
Just a moment. Where do you think you're going, Rickey?
No place.
Right the first time. Just stand still, my fat friend. And you, Mr. Building Commissioner.
It's a grafting rat commissioner to you, Superman.
Now, look here, Were you thinking of leaving without saying goodbye?
You see... He just remembered he had an appointment, I guess.
Yes, he has an appointment, all right, with Police Inspector Henderson. And then a very long appointment with the warden of the state penitentiary.
Oh, no, you've made a mistake. I can explain.
Oh, you can?
I really had nothing to do with Mr. Rickey in the way that you think that is.
Why, it was him that made me jip on all those contracts. I didn't want to have
You're a liar. It was you.
Gentlemen, please.
Yeah. Is that nice? Two big crooks like you guys calling each other names?
Yes, get your hats, gentlemen. You're going to be away a long time. Let's go, Candy. I'll take this tough little lad under my arm. And as I believe Mr. Rickey was remarking when I blew in, this is it.
Herded by Superman, who carries the limp gunman under his arm, and followed by a battered but happily smiling Candy Myers, Fat Mike Rickey and Building Commissioner Morgan are led from the apartment to police headquarters. Their vicious threat against our friends and the citizens of Metropolis forever over. But unknown to Clark Kent, unknown even to those who will be involved, a much more vicious threat is about to raise its ugly, venomous head. A threat not only against Editor White, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and our other friends, but a threat against personal freedom. A threat against you, and you, and you. Against every decent, clear-thinking American. So don't miss the opening episode of tomorrow's new Superman adventure for thrills and excitement as the Man of Steel battles against hidden poisons. Tune in, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, think of all the famous names you know, and you'll think of Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Then you'll think of Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. Makes breakfast loads of fun. Crisp, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right, and packed with natural nut-sweet flavor. Just the right size, too, made to fit the bowl. As for nutrition, well, Mom knows that whole wheat is mighty good for you. And for economy, she likes the 15 biscuits in every package. Try Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. You'll like it. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Worried about income tax? Wonder if spring will ever come? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. You were alone in your book-lined study, listening to the idiot gibberings of a parrot. And beside you, caressing you, is an invisible thing, a loathsome thing, from which you must escape.
Escape, produced by William N. Robeson and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Today, we escape to the west end of London, to a little house just off Hyde Park, where lived a man who didn't like people. Today, we escape in the remarkable tale of Robert Hitchens, how love came to Professor Guildea.
It has been said that no night ever passes over London town that sees not some strange and curious event, some occurrence too incredible to bear repeating in the light of day. How horribly true are those words. It's been over a year now since the night I first met the amazing Professor Guildea. I had delivered a sermon at the rectory of St. Swithin in the East End, and was passing through the foyer in departure when I was accosted brusquely by an odd little man, remarkably sharp-featured, his face adorned by a pointed black goatee.
A moment, please. I believe you're Father Murchison?
Yes, that's right, but I don't think I've had the pleasure of...
Perhaps you've heard of me. My name's Guildea, Professor Guildea.
Guildea? Why, yes, you're the famous psychologist.
Yes, psychologist, biologist, anthropologist, philosopher, and that takes care of that. Sir, I never attend religious services.
It appears you've done so tonight.
I came for one reason, to hear you. Find out why an otherwise normal colleague of mine thinks you're the most convincing speaker he's ever listened to.
And did you find out?
No, your talk was intelligent, logical. Therefore, it could never convince anybody of anything.
Thank you. You're a direct man, Professor Guildea.
No time to be anything else. I'd like to have you dine with me, Father Murchison, say a week from tonight, 7 o'clock. I live at number 100 Hyde Park in the West End.
Can't we make it 2 weeks? I'm preaching at St. Saviour's that night, just round the corner from the park. And I'm afraid it'll have to be nearer 8:30 than 7. The service isn't over so early.
We can't even agree on a time for dinner. Very well, 8:30, 2 weeks. Good night, sir.
Perhaps if I had known then what I haven't, no matter. I kept the appointment, of course. After an excellent dinner, we climbed the stairs to Guildea's study. A large, book-lined room running the width of the house, with windows at the end overlooking the park. In front of those windows stood the one incongruous thing in the room. A cage holding a large grey parrot. In fact, as I recall, it was the parrot that was responsible for my first becoming aware of what exact opposites Guildea and I really were. The same parrot that was responsible for so many other things that happened later.
Quiet, Napoleon. One day that infernal squawking of yours will drive me to wring your neck.
Somehow it surprises me, Guildea. I mean, you're keeping a pet.
I possess a parrot, Father Murchison, that's all. Made a study of the imitative faculties of animals some months ago. Bought the bird then, never got rid of it.
I see.
Started the bad habit of scratching the fool thing's head. It loves it, you see. In 5 minutes, he'll be screaming for more of it. Why would it surprise you so much if I kept a pet?
Because I believe you're the most self-sufficient man I ever met.
More than that, actually. I detest affection, any display of sentimentality.
But you do feel the need of close human sympathy in your life.
None whatsoever. A reasonable amount of companionship, naturally, but that's all. Father Murchison, I'm one person who does not love his fellow men.
Nonetheless, some of your discoveries have been of great benefit to mankind.
Entirely accidental.
I thought you would be liking a coffee now,
sir. Yes, Pitting. Put it down on the table, please.
Thank you, sir. Will there be anything else?
No, that's all, Pitting.
Yes, sir.
An excellent servant there. I know nothing of Pitting's thoughts or feelings, nor he of mine. Perfect relationship.
And if a crisis occurred, if you needed to call on him as a friend?
It would take a considerable crisis.
What about the parrot? Surely you must regard it with some affection, otherwise you'd get rid of it.
Napoleon, merely a specimen. Birds as devoid of sentimentality as I am. He can only imitate whatever he sees and hears.
Guildea, have you ever been in love?
Neither with anyone in particular, nor with love itself. Being in love, as you put it, or having someone in love with me, would be the most monstrous and horrible situation I could possibly imagine.
All of a sudden, I feel a very great sense of pity.
For whom?
For you. Yet, as different as we were, my life dedicated to all humanity, and Guildea's life stripped of its own humanity, I called again at the house at Hyde Park many times, and we became friends. We talked away many evening hours in the months that followed, sitting by the book-covered table in the long study, the grey parrot chattering away in the background, with the lamplight barely reaching the farther corners. It was on such a night not long ago that the thing began. Guildea had seemed uncommonly nervous since dinner, and had spent much of the time pacing in front of the windows that faced the park.
How's it, Murchison? I can't seem to relax tonight. I ever feel a completely unaccountable presentiment, a sense that something remarkable was about to happen.
Oh, yes. Usually it never did. Turned out to be the effect of too much coffee.
Oh, it's not that. Coffee doesn't bother me. Nothing does.
Well, then suppose you stop pacing the floor and sit down. You're wearing me out.
Noticed how well Napoleon's learned to imitate your voice?
Yes, I have, and it's almost insulting at times.
The worst thing is feeling such a strong compulsion to do something which I know to be ridiculous.
Exactly what is it you're talking about, Guildea?
Well, it's foolish even to mention it, but I wonder if you'd pardon me for a few minutes.
Of course.
Help yourself some more coffee. I'll be right back.
I walked over and stood stroking the feathers of the parrot through the bars of his cage. I'd grown rather fond of the ugly bird, but it always startled me to hear him mimic some phrase of mine or Guildea's. Napoleon, you're a true creature of the devil. I happened to glance out of the window toward the park across the street. The arc lamp at the corner threw a dim gleam across a bench set just inside the paling. And I was surprised to see Professor Guildea moving about the bench, peering under it, behind it, staring into the shadows nearby. He kept this up for some minutes, then crossed the street and came back toward the house. In a moment, I heard him ascending the stairs.
Father Murchison, has anyone entered this room since I went out?
I know. You mean Pitting, of course. He hasn't been in.
Strange. Very strange.
I saw you across the street in the park. What were you doing?
I thought I saw something, wondered what it was, that's all.
Did you find out?
No. What's wrong with the parrot? Never made a sound like that before.
What do you mean? He seems all right.
Napoleon, stop that.
What was it you thought you saw?
Nothing. As you said, most likely it was the coffee. Only I'm very much afraid that... Oh, no. In this day and age, it's impossible.
Nearly a week later that I received a phone call in my quarters at the rectory. Father Murchison here.
This is Pitting, sir. Professor Guildea's man.
Oh, yes, Pitting. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. The master would greatly appreciate your calling at the house this evening, if it's convenient, sir.
Oh, anything wrong?
I could not say, sir.
But why didn't he phone himself? He isn't ill?
I think not. He suggested 8 o'clock, sir. May I tell him you've come?
Yes. Yes, by all means. Tell him I'll be there at 8.
Beating about the bush, Father Murchison. I am nervous. Of course I am. Plenty of reason for it.
Oh, you're working too hard.
No, I'm working too hard. The other night it was coffee. As a matter of fact, it's neither one. Be quiet, Napoleon.
Maybe you'd better tell me just what is the matter, Guildea.
Do you feel the presence in this room of anyone beside the two of us?
Well, there's Napoleon, of course.
No, I don't mean the parrot. He senses it too, though.
Senses what?
When you were here last week, I left the house for a few minutes, you remember?
Yes.
I'd been watching someone sitting on that bench across in the park, a shadowy sort of figure. I had to find out what it was.
But you found nothing. You told me when you came back.
That's right. But I left the front door open. When I came back in, I felt suddenly that someone or something had entered ahead of me.
Oh, come now, really, Guildea.
I knew also that they'd found their way to this room.
But I was here all the time. No one came in.
Father Murchison, whoever or whatever came into the house that night, came into this room, is still here right now.
You, Guildea, a scientist.
Yes. Ridiculous, isn't it? But it's true. I'm only able to feel its presence. Napoleon can see it. Look at him now. Now, wouldn't you say he was watching something over there in the far corner of the room?
No, I'd say he's just being as foolish as a parrot usually is.
You, a skeptic?
About this, yes. You've been working too hard. You need a vacation.
I haven't told you the worst part of it. Would you say that I'm an attractive man?
Frankly, no. Oh, I suppose to a certain type of society woman you might...
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, then, what are you talking about?
I don't know whether this intruder is a woman, man, child, animal, but whatever it is, it holds a vast affection for me.
What?
You imagine anything so utterly monstrous, horrible? Murchison, the thing, is in love with me.
I could not, would not accept Guildea's belief. And yet the alternative was even more frightful. For I could only decide that the long hours of study and lecturing had affected his mind, had brought him in fact to the verge of insanity. I persuaded him finally to get away for a while, leave the house, forget his professional problems, take a short trip. I accompanied him to Victoria Station, saw him off on the boat train, and then, caught up in my duties, I had little time to consider the strange affair for nearly 10 days. Father Murchison here.
I hope I haven't disturbed you.
Professor Guildea, then you're back in London.
Yes, I've been back for 3 days.
Well, you should have called me. How was the trip?
Quite pleasant. I took passage on a channel coaster. The sea air was wonderful.
You weren't troubled on the trip?
Oh, no. Not at all. It waited here for me.
What? Then you mean to
Could
tell
you
me...
come over here tonight?
You mean now?
Yes, if you could. You see, I can prove it to you now.
Very well. I shall come right over. I stood there by the phone and shivered. The thing had become so real to him now that he felt he could go away and leave it, then come back and find it waiting for him.
That's why I didn't call you when I first came back. I wanted to be sure. So I've waited 3 days, and every day has been worse than the one before.
In what way? What do you mean?
I mean, the thing was waiting for me here. Glad I was back, fawned all over me. It was more insistently obnoxious all the time.
Guildea, do you mean you've seen the thing? Heard it?
No, I haven't seen it, haven't heard it, but I know it's here. I can feel it, sense it. Try to put it in words, and it becomes absurd.
If you'd like some unsolicited advice, call in a doctor. Have him look you over.
And what doctor in London knows any more about the human mind than I do?
I know, but when it's your own mind...
No. You're thinking of hysteria, hallucination. I know all the symptoms. It's not that simple. Anyway, I told you I could prove it to you. You'll notice I've thrown a cover over Napoleon's cage.
Yes, I've been wondering about it.
Part of my proof. He's been here, you know, all the time I was gone, here in this room.
Yes, but
I want you to get behind those curtains with me. Then I'll reach out and pull the cloth off his cage. I don't want him to see us.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, but, all right, come on.
Ready? I'll uncover him.
We crouched there behind the curtains watching the parrot. He protested a while at being so rudely disturbed by some unseen agency. Climbed about the cage with claws and beak, pecked at crumbs, appeared entirely normal. After a time, he began to fix his attention on a spot across the room. There was nothing there.
Watch him. Look at him now.
In the parrot's mind, at least, someone or something was approaching the cage. And yet, the room was empty. Whatever it was apparently had reached the cage now, and Napoleon welcomed it with friendly chortling. The hairs rose on the back of my neck, for the bird was cooing and gurgling as he did when I or Guildea scratched the feathers on his head. I could almost fancy that I saw long, white, ghostly fingers reaching through the bars of the cage.
Watch him and listen to him. He's talking to the thing, imitating it. See what you think.
The bird was moving about in the cage now, nodding his head in a very peculiar manner, uttering the most extraordinary sounds. I began to realize that he was imitating the thing he saw standing by his cage. And then the full horror of it came over me. I tried to hide the thought from Guildea, but he had already seen it in my eyes.
So you see it, too. That's all I wanted to know. That I wasn't imagining it. There's no point in hiding there any longer. That was my proof.
But perhaps someone was here while you were gone.
I've questioned Pitting and the cook. No one has been here.
It can't be. Such a thing just can't be.
Father Murchison, it is.
Well, where? Where is it now? Can you tell me where it is?
Not exactly. Somewhere in the room, not too far away. I can feel that. Napoleon, of course, can see it.
There is some rational explanation, Guildea. There has to be.
No whistling in the dark, Father. You recognize the same thing I did.
I know what you mean, of course.
I can't stand much more of it. There's only something I can fight, strike out at. I'm not a coward, but I can't see it, hear it. I can only feel it trying to touch me somehow, trying to get close to me, drooling with desire and affection, fondness for me. And I can't keep it away. It gets closer all the time.
Guildea, you've got to get hold of yourself.
Get hold of myself. You saw the way that parrot imitated the thing, those mannerisms, that gibberish. You know what it means as well as I do.
I saw it, but it can't possibly...
Can't you feel how hideous it is for me? I can't stop it. The thing makes love to me, caresses me, and whatever it is, it has no mind. You saw that. That thing is a slobbering idiot.
I walked home at a late hour, trying desperately to think of some reasonable answer to the whole strange affair. I could not accept Guildea's explanation of the actions of the parrot, though the bird had produced an extraordinary illusion of an invisible presence in that room. In a day gone by, perhaps I might have been called in to deal with an evil spirit. I thought of retribution. Guildea had always borne an unnatural distaste for human love. Was he now being forced to endure the unnatural love of some monstrous being as punishment? I cast such thoughts away from me. Yet I could not quite accept the only other reasonable solution, that my friend was insane. It was very late when I fell asleep. The following evening I preached at Warwick Chapel and returned to my quarters about 9. I found that Pitting had called a short time before and left a rather puzzling message. Implore that you come to Hyde Park at once. Otherwise, I cannot answer for the consequences. But what is it you're trying to say, Pitting? He's not himself. In what way is he not himself?
I can only suggest, sir, that you talk to him yourself. Here we are.
Yes, come in.
I leave you now, sir.
Oh, Murchison, come in.
Guildea, what in the name of heaven is wrong? Pitting said you'd been upset, but he didn't say...
Inhuman machine.
What happened? What did he do?
Nothing. That's just it. Nothing.
But I don't see then what...
Oh, you warned me about it once. You said I'd meet a crisis, need him as a friend, and he wouldn't be there. Well, it happened.
But yeah, I'm going to call a doctor. I've never seen you in a state like this before.
No, I don't need a doctor. I'm all right now. For a little while, anyway. At least I think I am.
Then what was it? What happened?
That thing touched me. Really touched me, I mean, for the first time. It's only been trying to before. The only way I can put it, it rubbed itself against my soul. It was horrible.
Now, Guildea, you...
Don't tell me I've got to get hold of myself. I know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. If you'd felt it yourself, you'd know what I mean. It was disgusting. Filthy. If it lasted one more minute, I know I should have gone screaming mad.
But you don't feel it now?
No, not now. I lost my head, I guess. I struck out with my fists. I tore at myself, screamed for help. Pitting came and thought I was drunk. But I could feel it touching me, sickening, soft, tender, inside of me.
But it left you then. You forced it away.
Yes, it's still here in the room somewhere, but it hasn't tried to touch me again.
Well, that settles it. Guildea, you're leaving here tonight. It didn't follow you when you took the trip before. It stayed here. That's one way you can be free of it.
Then you believe in the thing, too. Believe it's real.
It's real for you, and that's enough. Now, if I remember it, you're giving a lecture at Oxford the last of the week. You're going on up there now. I'll help you pack.
I could do that. I could stay at the Grosvenor tonight, take a train in the morning. It's right near the station.
And it's all agreed. I'll get at it.
Wait. Look at Napoleon. Standing there by his cage. He's talking to it. Imitating it. Can you imagine what that thing must look like?
Never mind. Let me help you start packing.
But I didn't tell you what it really did this evening. What came closest to driving me insane.
It doesn't matter.
The thing kissed me, Murchison. But not from the outside. What? I could feel it. Warm and wet. Kissing my lips. From the inside.
Guildea stayed at the hotel that night and caught the train out to Oxford the next morning. 4 days later, I received a wire from him. I'm still feeling a bit shaky, but everything else is all right. No sign of any visitor. Why don't you try to come up for the lecture Friday night? And please get rid of Napoleon for me. Signed, Guildea. On sudden impulse, I decided to accept his invitation. My train was late, and I arrived at Oxford with only time enough to go directly to the seminar. I slid into my seat just as Guildea was introduced and began his talk. He was pale and perhaps a bit drawn, but seemed otherwise composed and in control of himself. As I sat there, my mind wandered away from his talk, seeking some solution for the horrible problem which I regarded as being as much my own as Guildea's. I decided I would try to persuade him to sell the house in Hyde Park Place, since his strange fixation seemed to be bound up with it. Try to find lodgings elsewhere. Some 10 minutes passed when suddenly I noticed Guildea was becoming very nervous. He faltered in his talk, seemed to be confused. He stood there on the platform, deathly pale, his hands out as though pushing something away from him. I knew what was wrong. Pardon me, please. Could I get through? Pardon me, let me to him, please. Pardon me, I'm his friend. Guildea, can you hear me?
Murchison.
Yes. Everything's all right.
It came here. Found me out. It rubbed up against me on the platform. It's no use. Take me back to London.
We arrived back in London late the next afternoon. Guildea was a broken old man. He shivered continually, trembled as though shaken by a chill. He claimed to sense the awful presence of that thing always nearby us, accompanying us, and he was constantly terror-stricken lest it might try to touch him again. I stayed with him in the house in Hyde Park, and as night drew on, we sat in the long, book-filled study on the second floor. Pitting brought coffee to us and then withdrew. We found little to talk about, and the silence of the room seemed doubly oppressive without the familiar chatter of the parrot in the background.
What did you do with him, Murchison? Napoleon, I mean.
I boarded him with a pet shop in Shaftesbury Avenue. I thought you might want him back again after you'd reconsidered.
No, I don't want him back. You still can't feel its presence, can you?
No, Guildea, I'm afraid I can't.
Wish to heaven I couldn't. It's in here with us now, you know.
Now, please.
It doesn't matter. That's no use. I can't fight it any longer. There's no way to fight it.
Perhaps that may be the answer, to stop fighting it. You said yourself that you felt it was fond of you, meant you no harm. Then why not stop fighting? Try to return its fondness, its love, if you will.
You don't know what you're asking. Even the thought of it sickens me. Fondness, love, that thing.
Perhaps it may be the only way out.
Then there's no way out. I tell you, Murchison, I've only one feeling for that creature, that's hatred. Hatred, disgust, and hatred.
Please, try to be calm.
Wait.
What is it?
Perhaps that's it. Listen. Whatever you are, beast or devil, I hate you, do you hear? I hate you. Murchison, that's doing it. It's recoiling, withdrawing, I can feel it.
Guildea, please.
I hate you. I hate you. Murchison, it wants to leave. It's beginning to hate me, too, but it wants to leave now. Open the door. Go downstairs and open the front door. Open the front door and let it out.
All right, Guildea, if you'll feel better about it.
Me to go alone, but I know how to fight it now. Go, Murchison, hurry. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
I ran down the stairs and threw open the front door. I stood there, breathing in the night air. It was clear and cold, and the stars hung overhead. I looked across to the park, saw the glow from the street lamp falling on the empty bench directly opposite. And at that moment came a sound that froze my blood with horror. I stood there, paralyzed, unable to move. Seconds passed, perhaps minutes, I don't know. I don't know how long I stood there. I glanced across at the empty bench, and for one moment thought I saw a shadow sitting on it. A vague shadow as Guildea saw it one night weeks before. And then the bench was empty, and I heard Pitting running down the stairs.
Oh, Murchison, come quickly. Professor Guildea, it was his heart, I think.
Yes, I believe it was his heart.
But Father Murchison, he's lying up there now, sir. He's dead.
Dead? Dead, Pitting? I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Escape, produced by William N. Robeson and directed by Norman MacDonald, today brought you How Love Came to Professor Guildea by Robert Hitchens, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Louis Van Rooten as Professor Guildea, Parley Bear as Father Murchison, Harry Bartell as Pitting, and Paul Frees as the Parrot. Music was conceived by Cy Fewer with Richard Orant at the console. Next week,
when the coming weekend offers little to stir the imagination, when routine inactivity stares you in the face, when you're already tired of doing nothing, we offer you Escape.
Next week, we bring you another exciting story of high adventure. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stand by for Space Cadet in 30 seconds. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Yes, Kellogg's brings you the secret of a more delicious breakfast treat. It's new, it's wonderful. It's Kellogg's Raisin Bran, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. You get plump, tender raisins dipped in honeycomb, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. So try the new fruit and cereal combination. Get Kellogg's Raisin Bran, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And now, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch, invites you to rocket into the future with Corbet, Space Cadet.
Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Corbet, Space Cadet.
It is close to midnight when a lone figure in the trim uniform of a space cadet enters a dimly lit street shelter to wait for an air cab. The place is deserted, and as the young man settles himself on one of the benches, he looks at his watch anxiously. After a few moments, a small ferret-faced man sidles in from the street and eyes the cadet furtively.
Oh, did you have a light, mate?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Hey, you're from Space Academy, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Cadet Tom Corbett.
Yeah, I thought I recognized the uniform, but I always heard they were pretty strict about letting cadets out on the town.
So I'm on a weekend leave.
Tell me something. You cadet fellas ever get out into space much?
Oh, sure. We go on cruises all the time.
You know, I'm a spaceman myself.
You are?
Uh-huh. Deep spacer. And all the way to Sirius. Ever been that far, Corbett?
No, not yet.
Why don't you go in for a commercial flight in merchant ships? Pays good, and they need experienced hands. Need 'em bad.
I guess they do, but I want to stay at the academy.
In the old days, if they needed a space hand for a voyage and they couldn't hire one, well, they just grab one.
You mean some of the ship's actually Shanghaied crew members?
Now and then, if a fella happened to have special qualifications, like you have, mate.
Hey, what's the... Stop!
Well, mate, I hope they don't wait up for you at Space Academy, because you're going to be missing a long, long time.
Take it easy, lad. Take it easy.
Hey, where am I? And who are you?
I'm Jim Harris. You're aboard the Constellation.
The Constellation? Look, I don't know exactly what happened or how I got here, but I've got to get back to the academy by midnight. Tonight, Sunday.
Sunday?
Oh, what's so funny?
Well, this is already Monday. It's 0700 Earth time.
07. But my leave, I've got to... Say, what happened to my uniform?
What uniform?
My academy uniform. Don't you understand? I'm a space cadet.
Space cadet? Hey, you must have had a worse bump than I thought you had.
Stop stalling. I'm Tom Corbett of Space Academy. Now I want to know who took my uniform and put me in these dungarees, and how did I get here?
Well, if I were you, son, I'd just relax and have a bite of breakfast. You've got work to do.
What are you talking about?
You're a member of this ship's crew. We blasted off last night, and we're headed for deep space.
Great jumping Jupiter. I've been Shanghaied.
That's right. And you might as well make up your mind to one thing. You ain't gonna see Space Academy for a long, long time.
There's action ahead for Tom Corbett, all right. You know, fellas and girls, an exciting adventure is apt to pop any minute around Space Academy. That's why a space cadet keeps himself supplied with quick energy food. So for morning chow at Space Academy, you can bet there's a box of Kellogg's Corn Flakes on every table.
That's right, all you future space cadets, boys and girls. Morning chow always means Kellogg's Corn Flakes time to us. And how we go for 'em here at Space Academy. The trick is to get to the table before that box is empty. And you don't want to lose any time getting at those Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Let me tell you, they help you make a quick blast-off because Kellogg's Corn Flakes are quick energy food.
You heard what Astro had to say, so tomorrow morning and any morning, pour yourself a big bowl full of those golden sweet, crisp, and tender flakes. You'll be helping yourself to more punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. More punch till lunch with Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
As the rocket ship Constellation hurtles through the cold blackness of space away from Earth, Tom Corbett regains consciousness to find himself clad in space dungarees instead of his cadet uniform, and learns from Harris, a crew member, that he has been shanghaied, and that he is now bound for deep space. Now Tom angrily paces the deck of the crew's quarters.
Listen, Harris, who is the captain of this ship?
A fellow by the name of Pickering. You ever hear of him?
No.
You will.
By the rings of Saturn, he'll hear from me. I'm going to demand that this ship be put back to Earth and this man Dawson arrested.
Hey, now look, son, I feel sorry for you, and that's a fact. But you're in this now, and you won't find any way to get out.
Won't I? We'll see.
Hey, listen. If there was a way out, don't you think I'd take it myself?
You mean you were Shanghaied, too?
Yeah, more or less.
Hey, watch it. This must be Dawson.
All right, you space rats. Turn to.
You're the guy.
What?
You're the one who Shanghaied me.
Huh? What's the matter with this kid, Harris? Acceleration getting him?
Listen, Dawson, you're going to turn this ship back to Earth. You have no right to take me out.
Damp your tubes. Who do you think you're talking to? What's your name, anyhow?
You know my name, Tom Corbett. I'm a space cadet.
Is that right? Well, glad to meet you. My name's Commander Arkwright.
Now listen, Dawson.
You listen, mister. Your information. The papers you signed read George Stevenson, and that name's good enough for me. Now turn to and be quick about it.
I didn't sign any papers. Take me to the captain.
The captain?
Yes, I want to talk to the captain.
Oh, you do?
I've got a right to talk to him.
He looks done. Better let it
Let
ride.
him finish, Harris. He'll talk himself right into the brig.
We'll let the captain decide about that.
Okay, if you're so set on it, I'll take you up to the control deck right now.
Now, that's more like it.
You can have your talk with Captain Pickering. Only don't say I didn't give you fair warning.
Captain Pickering, Dawson committed a crime in bringing me aboard this ship. You've got to take me back.
Lad, I don't like space lawyers on my ship, and I don't like belly achers either. Now stow the chatter and get below.
But I'm a space cadet. You've got to take me back.
This is insubordination, mister.
All I'm asking is that you let me contact Commander Arkwright at the Academy. He'll verify my story.
That's enough, Mr. Dawson. Take this man below and put him in the brig.
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
No, I'm not leaving the bridge until you let me call the Academy. I'm not going to be a...
Maybe that'll show you who's running this ship. Now, Dawson, take him below and lock him up.
Commander Arkwright here.
Lieutenant Saunders reporting, sir.
Oh, yes, Saunders. Any word on Corbett yet?
No, sir, none.
12 hours over leave. Can't believe this of Corbett. He was always a most efficient cadet. But this is serious.
Yes, sir. Captain Strong has a request to make, sir.
What is it?
Cadets Astro and Manning, Corbett's roommates, are worried about his disappearance. They've asked permission to investigate.
What do they want to do?
They know their roommate's habits, sir. They're sure something happened to him, and they want to check on his activities. Captain Strong requests they be granted permission.
Very well. You may tell Strong they may be relieved of duty for the rest of the day.
Aye, aye, sir.
And you may also tell Captain Strong that when Corbett is found, he will be disciplined severely.
Who's there? Oh, it's me, matey. I brought you some lunch.
Oh, well, thanks, Harris.
You feeling all right, Tom?
Yes, no thanks to the captain, though. Listen, Harris, you said you'd give anything to get off this ship yourself.
Yeah, I would. But you can't buck Pickering and Dawson.
Well, maybe we can. I got a look at the navigation chart when I was on the control deck. On our present course, we crossed the orbit of Venus.
That's no secret. We put in at Venusport for fuel and supplies before blasting off to deep space.
That's our answer, then. We'll be there in a few hours.
Sure we'll be there. And you'll be here, locked in the brig the whole time.
Not if you'll help me.
Help you? How?
When we land at Venusport, watch your chance and slip open the bolts on that door. I'll get out and find the port commander.
Well, then what?
He'll arrest Pickering and Dawson, and the ship won't be given clearance to leave Venus.
Oh, I don't know. If they ever caught me...
As long as you have the run of the ship and keep quiet about it, we can't fail.
All right, Tom, I'll do it.
Good for you. Now take the tray back and act as though nothing has happened.
Yeah, right you are.
Just a minute, Harris.
Mr. Dawson.
Stay right where you are.
I was just going to take this tray back to the galley.
It can wait. You know, Harris, I didn't think you were so stupid.
Stupid, sir?
Didn't you think we'd have the brig rigged with a telecam?
Great galaxy, then you heard every word we said.
Yes, and saw you, too.
Oh, no.
So you were planning to jump ship, Mr. Harris.
No, he wasn't going to desert.
And he was going to help you, which is the same thing. So you two don't leave this brig until we've blasted off from Venus. After that, the captain will have plenty of time to figure out what kind of hooks to throw into you. And believe me, they'll be rough.
Well, Saunders, any report on Corbett yet?
Only one from Captain Strong, sir. He's checked the passenger and crew manifests of every ship that has blasted off since Sunday. Corbett's not on any of them.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. Cadets Manning and Astro request permission to continue their investigation on off-duty hours.
Very well. But I want Corbett's listing changed from overleave to AWOL. Notify all Earth Police to that effect at once. We've got to find him fast.
Give me a hand with this bunk, Harris.
What are you doing, Tom?
Trying to rip it away from the bulkhead. Come on.
Are you crazy? Dawson is probably watching every move we make.
Don't you think I know it? There. I'm getting it loose. Now, come on. Pull.
Okay.
There. And there's the telecam lens. I thought so.
Hey, what are you doing?
Tom, you kicked it out. Of course. Now he can't watch us.
You're out of your mind. That'll bring him running.
Maybe that's what I want him to do.
Those are the braking rockets. We're decelerating for the landing.
I know, which means we've got to work fast. Once we take off from Venus, we might as well be dead.
I'd like to know what you expect to do locked in this brig.
We're not going to be locked in here long.
Oh, somebody's at the hatch. It's Dawson, I guess.
All right, you two. Stay back against the bulkhead.
You didn't lose any time getting here, did you, Dawson?
What's the idea of kicking out the telecam lens?
To make you come in here. I want to talk to you.
Real smart kid, aren't you? Well, I'm here. Talk.
How about a deal, Dawson?
Deal? Huh? What kind of a deal can you make?
When you Shanghaied me, you were under Captain Pickering's orders, weren't you?
So what?
Just this. The Solar Guard will catch up with Pickering sooner or later. And when they do, you'll be as guilty as he is.
What are you driving at?
If you'll get us off this ship at Venusport, I'll recommend leniency with the Solar Guard. You helped us, so you might even get off scot-free.
Don't hand me that.
The kid's talking sense, Dawson.
There's no risk for you, because even if the idea doesn't work, we won't give you away.
Well, how am I supposed to spring you loose?
All you have to do is leave this hatch unlocked when we land on Venus. We'll do the rest.
What's in this for me?
I just told you. It's your chance to get out from under the captain's thumb. You'll be a free man again, Dawson.
Ah, no. I won't stick my neck out unless you make it worth my while.
All right. Maybe this will change your mind.
Huh? Your watch?
It's not an ordinary watch. It's platinum. Worth a lot of money. If you help us, it's yours.
Give it here.
Hey, wait, Tom. Not until he promised.
I said hand it over.
All right. Here.
Not a bad watch at that. Thanks, mate.
Now hear this. Approaching Venusport. All hands to landing stations. All hands to landing stations. On the double.
Hey, I gotta go topside.
Wait, Dawson. Will you help us?
I'll think it over.
What did I tell you, Tom? We've been on the ground for over 3 hours now.
How much longer before we blast off again, Harris?
15 minutes.
Well, there's still time. Dawson may come back.
Not him. He tricked you.
If I could only contact the port commander.
Well, shaking that hatch won't do you any good.
Jumping Jupiter. Harris, come here.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Look, this hatch isn't bolted.
Well, I'll be...
Dawson kept his word.
What? I sure had that guy pegged wrong.
Now, which way is the auxiliary airlock?
Down the companionway and to the left.
Well, then come on. With any kind of break, we'll be off this ship in 2 minutes.
Go ahead, Tom. Nobody spotted us. They're all busy with the loading.
Easy, Harris. Stay behind the stabilizer until we're sure of our bearings.
This blasted Venus mist. You can't see a thing.
Just as well. Then no one can see us. The administration tower ought to be south of here. Come on.
Hey, you better cut over this way, Tom. There'll be guards at the landing tower.
Right.
All right, you two. All or I'll shoot.
It's Dawson.
Turn around, get your hands up.
He double-crossed us, the dirty space rat.
If you didn't have that gun, Dawson, I'd knock your ears off.
No, your deserters caught red-handed jumping ship. I've got every right to blast you, and I think I will.
Looks like somebody got some big ideas today. And fellas and girls, here's another big idea. Give Mom the surprise of her life. Get her the big, colorful 10-piece baking set Kellogg's Corn Flakes is offering. She'll thank you 1,000 times. You bet your boot. Because this baking set is so handy, so useful, it actually makes baking fun. Listen to all you get. The most up-to-date mixing bowl, 4 measuring spoons, all held together so they won't get lost, 4 cookie cutters, and a special bowl scraper. Your eyes will pop when you see the bright, sparkling colors. Sunshine yellows, cherry reds, brilliant greens. They sure will dress up Mom's kitchen. And the mixing bowl is amazing. Made of the newest plastic, so lightweight and flexible, it's easier for Mom or you to handle. Also, absolutely unbreakable. You can even wash it in hottest water. And wait till you see those cookie cutters. Such keen, sharp edges, and such fun. You'll cut cookies to look like hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. Mom will thank you, too, for that bowl scraper. Great for beating, scraping, folding. Best of all, you get all 10 pieces of this baking set for less money than the bowl alone would cost. It's a great bargain and a great way to surprise Mom. Just do this. Send 50 cents in the top from any 2 boxes of Kellogg's Corn Flakes to Kellogg's, Box 926, Toronto, Ontario. That's the top from any 2 boxes of Kellogg's Corn Flakes, and 50 cents to Kellogg's, Box 926, Toronto. But hurry, these baking sets are going fast.
Escaping from the rocket ship Constellation, Tom Corbett and his friend Harris are betrayed by the first mate, Dawson, who captures them on the mist-shrouded plains of Venus. He is about to blast them with his ray gun when Captain Pickering, the skipper of the Constellation, suddenly appears out of the mist.
What's going on here, Mr. Dawson?
These men tried to jump ship, Captain. The pair we had in the brig, Stevenson and Harris.
Deserters, eh? On the Constellation, we shoot deserters. That's against space law, Captain Pickering. You're supposed to turn over all captured deserters to the Solar Guard. I told you once I don't like space lawyers. That still goes.
Let me blast them now, sir. Get rid of them once and for all.
No, Mr. Dawson, put them back aboard. I want them in irons and under double guard until we blast off.
Aye, aye, sir. Come on, you space rats. Get moving. On the double.
Wait a minute.
Move, I said.
Captain Pickering, don't you want to know how we got out of the brig? What?
Tap your tubes and move.
Ask Dawson how we got out. He took a bribe from us. He let us out. He what?
Don't listen to them, Skipper.
Then how did they get out? Harris, stand by to move. Right. Maybe they walked through the bulkhead, eh?
Skipper, I don't know how they did it.
You're responsible for them. Get ready. You take out Dawson. Okay. Come on, answer me.
Well, lying, Skipper. Honest they are.
Oh, give me that. I'll break every bone in your body.
No, Skipper, let go of my arm.
Now, Hey, Skipper, look out. You look out, Dawson. Why, you little space pup. You leaving, Captain. Oh, I'll take care of you. Harris, are you all right? See what you get a second, Tom. Oh. Brother, you really plowed him under.
I waited a long time for the chance, Tom. Someone's firing at us. Those are ray gun blasts.
We've been spotted by the crew. Come on, run for it.
We haven't a chance, Tom.
Yes, we have, and a good one. This Venusian mist will cover us in a second. Hurry, over this way.
Wait a minute. You're heading away from the control tower.
I know. That's where they'll expect us to go. So we'll circle around.
Good idea.
Hold it, Harris.
What's the matter?
I saw somebody just ahead there in the fog. Down, quick. Hug the ground.
He's coming this way.
Shh. Keep low.
He didn't see us. Which way now, Tom?
To the left. Don't run, though.
We're still in range.
We'll give ourselves up to the first Solar Guard we can find.
Yeah. We can duck those men from the Constellation.
Any sign of them, Captain? Watch it. There's Dawson.
No! Keep pressing, Dawson. Don't let them reach that control tower.
What do we do, Tom? We're cut off.
Don't lose your head. They don't know where we are. Just keep walking.
Mr. Dawson! Here, Captain. Any luck? Not yet, sir. But the men are finding out now. They're dead. Keep your eyes peeled.
They're drawing the cordon around us, Tom. We're sunk.
We've got to slip through somehow.
Hey, wait a minute. What's that ahead?
Where?
That light.
By Jupiter, it's the control tower. We're almost there, Harris. Keep going.
Another 20 yards and we've made it.
Oh, no.
Careful.
It's no use, Harris. They've got it.
With only a few yards to go.
Now take either of you, or I'll blast.
All right. We know when we're licked.
Okay. Let's have a look at you.
Hey, Tom. You're in Pipe this guy's uniform.
Why? He isn't from the Constellation.
Who said I was?
You're a port guard. You're from the tower.
That's right, and that's where I'm taking you to under arrest.
You'll take us to the port commander?
This minute. Now march.
Harris, we've made it.
Aye, aye. When you explain everything to the port commander, our troubles are over.
Well, can't you walk any faster, guard? We're in a hurry.
You bet we are.
The two people under arrest, you look mighty pleased with yourself. Well, I guess it takes all kinds to make a universe.
It sure does. And it looks like we're the lucky kind.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets on Thursday, when the meeting with the port commander suddenly takes a sudden deadly turn, and Tom is sent back aboard the Constellation, headed for deep space.
Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, also appears in the comic sections of many of Canada's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast are Al Markham as Astro, Jan Merlin as Roger Manning, and Edward Bryce as Captain Strong. Today's program was directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
The whole day starts out better when breakfast is fun. And one way to make breakfast fun is to have a different cereal every morning. How? That's easy. Easy for Mom, too. Ask her to get Kellogg's Variety Pack. Kellogg's Variety Pack is an assortment of cereals. 10 individual-sized boxes in one handy carton. And each individual box holds exactly one generous serving of a favorite Kellogg cereal. Yes, in Kellogg's Variety, they're all favorite cereals. Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Pep, Rice Krispies, and the new favorite Kellogg's Corn Pops, to mention just 4. And each serving stays extra crisp and fresh because it's in its own individual package. So just for fun, make breakfast fun. Ask Mom to get Canada's only cereal assortment, Kellogg's Variety Pack.